In this statement, there's a fundamental difference between what's imagined and what's actually perceived with consciousness. For instance, during hunger, envisioning eating lavish dishes doesn't solve the hunger issue. Yet, when consciousness is used to simulate eating, the sensation of hunger isn't felt. This pertains to a matter of different levels. If one exercises consciously, like Helen Keller did, they will discover many natural mysteries. On a calm, windless night, you raise your palm and feel in all directions. You will notice a cool breeze coming from certain directions and a warm gust from others. Over time, your palm will be able to discern the sound of any object, whether it's directed towards mountains, rivers, trees, flowers, houses, cars, people, or tables. You can hear their sounds. For example, when you hold your palm against a book, a thin book rolled up in your hand, you can sense its essence. Some books emit warmth, others coolness, while some books have no discernible temperature. If you can't feel anything, the reason lies not in the material itself, but in the lack of conscious training within yourself. It's like an ordinary piece of iron that lacks magnetization. It has no magnetism and therefore lacks north and south poles to distinguish between them. If we plug our ears and place our fingertips on someone's lips, we won't hear the person speaking, but Helen Keller could. The reason is that we haven't undergone conscious training. The creator of the universe created human beings, but did not grant us extraordinary hearing. Instead, our range of hearing is limited to 20 to 20,000 hertz. We are unable to hear sounds outside of this range. If we were able to hear infrasound and ultrasound, our days will have no peace. The sound of our heartbeat would be louder than drums. The sound of brushing our teeth would be like the earth shaking, and the sound of drinking water would resemble the roaring of the Victoria Falls. How could we bear such intensity? Everything has a sound. Any movement generates sound. When a jet plane takes off, it creates a deafening noise. However, if the frequency of its sound during takeoff exceeds 20,000 hertz, it becomes silent. In reality, it is not tribally knows the nobility and baseness of our inner world. In Chinese history, many extraordinary individuals emerged who possessed knowledge of numerous mysteries of the universe. They warned us, even whispered words are heard by heaven like thunder, hidden intentions are seen by divine eyes like lightning. Keep your heart pure and your thoughts clear. Desire no guilt in the open. Offend not in the unseen. In all matters, advise against concealing the truth, for within 3 feet above your head, there are divine beings, and so on. They explicitly conveyed to us that any activity within our inner world generates a sound that may be inaudible to humans, but is distinctly heard by the greatest creator and gods and Buddhas, resonating like thunderous lightning. Jesus, Shakyamuni, Laozi, and others have left us with wisdom rather than the mysteries of the universe. Jesus explicitly stated that pearls should not be thrown to pigs, and that he spoke in parables so that those with wicked hearts would not understand. Shakyamuni also primarily spoke for those on the path of the Mahayana. Laozi similarly understood that if the petty-minded individuals were to grasp the mysteries of the universe, it would bring endless harm. Life Genuine has made the greatest efforts and has led everyone to the edge of the mysteries of the universe. Looking at human history, the current state of human hearts is worse than before. In truth, humans no longer qualify to continue existing on this beautiful blue planet. However, gods and Buddhas are unwilling to give up and still want to make one last effort, even though the chances of realizing this desire are only 1 in 10,000. Everything within our inner being is heard without omission by the greatest creator. Similarly, the greatest creator selflessly communicates his intentions to each and every one of us. The reason we cannot hear the voice of the greatest creator lies in the fact that our spiritual perception, consciousness, has become deaf. We have been misled by appearances. Our consciousness is too chaotic and restless, and we lack concentration and focus. Shakyamuni sat under the Bodhi tree for 7 days and nights, fully concentrated, before hearing the voice of the greatest creator and attaining enlightenment to become a Buddha. Any individual who can hear the voice of the greatest creator will undoubtedly achieve Buddhahood. The souls can resonate with one another, and extraordinary consciousness can hear the voice of the greatest creator. May all beings become Buddhas, distinguishing the truth from the false. Xiefeng. When I was young, I followed my parents to the fields to weed. The wheat was less than 3 inches tall, the field a lush green, seemingly without any weeds growing amidst it. Yet, my parents bent over, carefully pulling out the weeds one by one, while my task was to move the uprooted weeds away from the wheat field and pile them together. Once, while observing the neatly stacked weeds, I thought I discovered a mistake made by my parents. With a proud yet reproachful tone, I called out to my mother, "Mom, you've mistaken the wheat for weeds. Bring it here, let me see." My mother responded. Excitedly, I brought the uprooted wheat to show my mother, aiming to prove her wrong. However, without even looking at it, my mother said to me, "Compare it to the wheat growing in the field. See if it truly is wheat." I compared it repeatedly, but I was still convinced that what she had uprooted wasn't grass but indeed wheat. "Mom, I am sure what you've pulled out is wheat." My mother then, with a gentle smile, had me squat down and said, "Look, this grass is called barnyard grass. It looks almost like wheat, but upon careful observation, there are differences. The color of barnyard grass is slightly darker than wheat. Its leaves are a bit wider, and when you touch it, its leaves are not as soft as wheat. This barnyard grass has a stronger vitality than wheat. If we do not pull it out now, it will absorb all the nutrients nearby, hindering the wheat around it from growing well." I earnestly compared it again and found my mother's point to be completely accurate. I mimicked her actions, searching the field, and discovered many barnyard grasses that looked like wheat among the seemingly wheat-filled field. I uprooted one barnyard grass and asked my father to identify it. He glanced at it, his dirty hand touching my head, and praised, "My child is so clever." At that moment, the pride I felt was no less than Columbus discovering a new continent. Now, I can also tell the difference between barnyard grass and wheat. But as an adult, I've been deceived time and again. Why cannot I distinguish between the wheat and barnyard grass among people? Bull can distinguish between horses, identifying the outstanding ones among the many, discerning which are inferior, which are good runners, and which are exceptional. This ability, akin to my parents' differentiation between wheat and barnyard grass, requires considerable effort and stems from long-term observation and analysis. It's a skill that's challenging for an amateur to master. Thus, I admire all those who possess such skills, and I realize that in every matter, it requires experts to make judgments. The flamboyant words of novices not only create confusion but also distort the truth, making it difficult to distinguish between true and false, right and wrong. I imagine how wonderful it would be if in this world, all novices refrained from interfering in matters of experts, refraining from meddling in what they do not understand, refraining from casually writing articles to critique. What I cannot comprehend is why those with shallow understanding and superficial skills are so fond of criticizing and commenting on philosophy, thoughts, politics, arts, and spiritual studies. Without deep expertise or unique talent, how do they comprehend the deeper truths? Why not be a bit humble? Displaying one's limited knowledge only shows shallowness and immaturity. Boasting shamelessly only signifies arrogance and conceit. Unconditionally affirming or denying only reflects ignorance and foolishness. Denying the greatest creator is due to dull spiritual perception. Negating deities is because of worldly eyes. Not acknowledging other spaces is due to ignorance about non-material and negative universes. Human understanding of the mysteries of the universe and life is quite limited, so why deny it? Our vision, our hearing, are confined to a relatively narrow and limited area, but through perception, we have the capability to transcend these limitations and enter an infinitely vast space. With such a beautiful future, why not explore? Why not pursue? I see that human society is filled with isolated lakes that do not connect to rivers and oceans. Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Taoism, science, they're like individual lakes. Evolution, the Big Bang Theory, genetic studies, socialist theories, capitalist theories, democratic theories, human rights theories, and more, they're like drying up small ponds. Why not connect them to understand and contemplate? In his book, Morals, Naked Ape, physicist Mr. Jam Kaming vividly likened this situation to studying the elephant's toenails, legs, tail, ivory, ears, without anyone truly studying the entire elephant. If there were someone studying the entire elephant, those studying just the toenails or tail would sneer. What? I cannot even figure out the elephant's toenails thoroughly, and you claim to understand the entire elephant? The fable of the blind men and the elephant tells us that if we confine our thinking to what we've touched and cling to our biases, we'll never understand the complete picture of the elephant. We'll forever remain in endless debates of the elephant is a pillar, the elephant is a wall, the elephant is a rope, the elephant is a fan, but we'll never unravel the eternal question of which came first, the chicken or the egg. In the past 20 years, many knowledgeable, aspiring, and idealistic people have been exploring ways to end authoritarianism. However, very few have explored from the perspective of studying the entire elephant. Most have confined their vision to the narrow field of elephant toenail studies, leg studies, focusing solely on emperors, political parties, and systems, as if you could both nurture fish and grow crops in water equally. I lack profound moral virtues, but I've learned from my parents how to distinguish wheat from barnyard grass and understand the method of integrating human culture. But how many are interested? Continue with your debates. Enlightenment from famous brands. Xiefeng. At the end of last fall, I bought a Zhang Shaoquan kitchen knife from a Chinese store in Vancouver. I cherished my new knife but failed to use it for a long time until I lost my old kitchen knife last month and finally began using it. It was easier and handier to use, and the good experience that it provided was like a cow eating lotus or removing hair from yak butter. A quality product is easy to use and works really well. The old kitchen knife was eventually found, but I never used it again until yesterday when I placed the Zhang Shaoquan in the sink after I had cut some meat and picked up the old kitchen knife unconsciously when I needed to cut some vegetables. The moment I held it in my hand, I found it to be quite unpleasant, and it was at that moment that I realized the value of the famous brand. 10 years ago, Xintao Celestial gave me a Philips razor which is still good after I had used it for 10 years. Then, I accidentally lost a small holder while cleaning my hair half a year ago, so I had to buy a new razor at 100 Mile House. I bought one of the best ones in that store, but it did not work well and failed after only a month. I eventually found the small holder for my Philips, but although I wanted to use the new one, it did not work well, so I returned to using the Philips. The advantage of the Philips is that after charging it for slightly more than 10 minutes, it can be used for about 20 days. After 10 years, the battery is still intact. In addition, it feels comfortable in my hand, shaves cleanly, never pinches me or pulls any hairs out painfully, is fairly silent, and the original blade is still sharp. From these two examples, I have concluded that whether it is appliances, clothes, or other utensils, it is best to use quality brands if one can afford them. They might be more expensive, but in terms of long-term benefits, they are more cost-effective. Thus, I realized that people can also be divided into various grades. If you can get acquainted with, interact with, the greatest wealth in life is being able to meet and cherish one or several of them. I can be considered a blessed person because when I counted the treasures in my spiritual warehouse, I found several brand characters worth mentioning. 2 male secular friends are Shui Binyi and Lu Jinkai. 2 male Chanyuan Celestials are Tongtian Celestial and Qinxi Celestial, and 3 female brand Celestials are Huiying Celestial, Jingying Celestial, and Xiangrui Celestial. Their common features are that they all have rich personalities and first-class quality. They are picturesque like mountains and rivers or poems and paintings, high in taste and state, treat me sincerely and without deception, have never made me feel uncomfortable in the slightest degree, and have helped me a lot. We should cherish brand objects while using them and treat them with awe because they are expensive, and do the same with brand people. When facing the brand people whom we are lucky enough to have in our lives, we can only venerate and admire them in our hearts without the tiniest secular affection or lust. It is best to enjoy them as quietly as you would appreciate peerless landscape paintings. Never take them down and hang them up repeatedly. When several government websites described Life-Chanuan as a cult several years ago, I, as its godfather, immediately broke off my relations with Shui Binyi and Lu Jinkai because I did not want to negatively impact the futures of my best friends. Sacrificing oneself and protecting brand friends is the best way to cherish and respect them. Brand objects have exquisite structures, high quality, and long service lives, making them easy to use. Brand characters have rich personalities and are transcendent, lofty, exquisite, sincere, selfless, and desireless beyond words. They are inexhaustible spiritual sources from which one can benefit for a lifetime. So they should only be admired without the slightest profane thoughts. Of course, there are still many brand characters who are worth cherishing in my life, most of whom are Chanyuan Celestials. I hope that my existence will be valuable and useful to my dear friends, and I pray that one day my relationships with Chanyuan Celestials will no longer be as ones between a tour guide and tourists, but rather those of close friends. It is not easy to meet brand characters. Not only does it require a gift from the greatest creator, but also the matching of one's own quality. It is even more difficult to become one. It takes a lifetime of self-cultivation and self-refinement to hope to accomplish that. A person who never meets a brand character throughout their life would not know that there are mountains beyond mountains, how high the sky is, or how lush the land can be. They would always use old kitchen knives without knowing that Zhangzioquans exist, but always think that all kitchen knives are the same. This is both pitiful and pathetic. Just like a woman who has never experienced an extreme orgasm never knows what it is really like to be a woman. I hope that I can become like a Zhang Shaoquan kitchen knife or Phillips razor one day. Everything has a sound. Xiefeng. As long as there is movement, vibrations will occur. With vibrations, waves are produced. And with waves, sound is generated. All moving machines make sounds. All living animals produce sounds. All growing plants have sounds. Plants grow with sound. White clouds drifting across the blue sky have sound. Butterflies gracefully dancing among flowers have sound. Mosquitoes buzzing as they suck blood have sound. And the movement of the intestines has sound. Flowing water has sound. And even seemingly still mountains, rocks, and the earth itself have sound. This is because they are not only moving with the Earth's rotation and its revolution around the sun, but also because the molecules within them are in motion. Any frequency of oscillation produces sound. The crashing waves of the sea have sound. Animals running and walking on the earth have sound. Birds flying in the sky have sound. And signals emitted by television stations, radio stations, communication towers, including the signals from our mobile phones, have sound. All light has sound, not only the radiant waves of the sun, but also the faint glow emitted by a lit candle has sound. The flowing underground springs have sound, blood flowing through our veins has sound, and the upward flow of nutrients within the branches of ancient trees that have lived for 100 years also has sound. The brain has brain waves, the heart has an electrocardiogram, and our mental activities, thinking consciousness have sound. The universe has sound, empty space has sound, positive objects have sound, and negative objects have sound. The greatest creator who created everything in the universe has sound. Evil kindness. Xiefeng. The noble die for their confidence. As someone influenced by Confucian culture, I also hold this view of life. While I doubt whether I could die for a confidant, walking the path with those who understand me, sharing joys and sorrows, is what I pursue. Drinking tea, chatting, climbing mountains, traveling with those who understand me always brings a sense of delight. True friends are hard to find in life. Although they say, grass is green everywhere under the sky, in this finite life, if one finds a confidant, discovers a patch of green grass, and fails to cherish it, assuming there's an abundance ahead, they are likely to miss opportunities and regret for a lifetime. If we do not walk with those who understand us, should we stay with those who do not? Repay kindness received with gushing gratitude is a value I adhere to. When someone helped me at a critical time, pulling me out of a predicament, guiding me out of confusion, showing me hope, healing wounds, how could I forget the pain? Repaying kindness is the virtue of a true gentleman. Repaying kindness with enmity is the conduct of a petty person. Before going abroad, I encountered a confidant who was the CEO of a limited industrial development company that I met after starting my own business. I mentioned his name in the postscript of Life at Chanyuan, saying, "Meeting you during my journey, receiving your help is like being nourished by the rain. I throw a spiritual beam toward the sky, wishing you a smooth journey ahead." This is my blessing for him and for all the other confidants I've encountered on my life journey. After going abroad, I discovered a massive potential market. In gratitude, I soon wrote to this CEO, informing him about the considerable profits from overseas markets. He was excited and promptly replied, appointing me as the manager of the company's overseas department. Everything was running smoothly for a while. To expedite progress, I made a request to the CEO. I need to rent an office, set up a telephone, and buy a car. Please have the corporate headquarters consider this request. Anyone who has run a company overseas knows that an office, a fax machine, and a car are basic necessities. However, those who haven't traveled abroad might think riding a bicycle or taking public transportation suffices. Stalled. After my request, I received no further response from the CEO. Later, I learned that the hitch occurred due to several vice presidents, the CEO's spouse, and caring friends who concerned about him. Upon learning of my request, they cautioned him, saying, "Be cautious, do not fall for his tricks. This person is ambitious. He might be a fraud." A great opportunity, capable of bringing the CEO immense wealth, fizzled out, vanished, and miscarried. This happened in the name of kind concern. Later, the increasing success and growth of many Chinese compatriots in this place confirmed my initial judgment. Instead of the kindness and warnings from those around the CEO, if he had taken swift action and seized the opportunity, this industrial company would have evolved into an entirely different entity. Upon pondering this for a long time, I realized the kindness around the CEO was a kind of evil kindness. Evil kindness always presents itself as sincere, considerate, caring, and it's for your own good. Yet, it consistently sets invisible obstacles in the way of others' development, ruining their bright prospects. You must be careful. Be cautious not to fall for it. Always be cautious of others. This person is ambitious. You must be cautious. Allow me to speak frankly. I'm doing this for your own good. Evil kindness not only ruins someone's bright future, but can also crush their beliefs, create discord among brothers and sisters, make friends and colleagues turn against each other, cause divorce between spouses, sow hatred between parents and children, lead partners to court, cause the downfall of political parties, dissolve organizations, bring turmoil to nations, and bring disgrace to ethnic groups. Evil kindness is everywhere, always cloaked in kindness, making it hard to guard against. Those with a twisted mind, lacking genuine talent, those with a cunning mind but no substantial intellect, insistent on displaying themselves as frogs at the bottom of a well, and those who cannot argue logically, provide evidence, and thrive on baseless speculation are the breeding grounds of evil kindness. Benevolent evil. Xiefeng. Once while watching Animal World on TV, I came across a scene. A tall tree with a bird's nest, a big bird cruelly driving away a young bird seemingly not fully feathered from the nest. The young bird, panicked, tried to hide, squeezing back into the nest. The bird mother, seemingly lacking any sympathy for her daughter, flapped her wings, squawked, not letting it take a step back, eventually forcing the young bird to fly away from the tree nest and clumsily spread its wings for the first time. The fledgling bird landed clumsily on the grass, and the big bird promptly flew to a branch not far from it, preening its feathers. But observing the newly liberated young bird, chirping and hopping joyfully on the ground, it seemed to say, "Mom, look, I can fly. I can hop on the ground. Life outside is so much freer and comfortable than in the nest. Look, Mom, I can even catch insects. Oh, the outside world is wonderful." At first glance, the mother bird's act of driving away her offspring seemed evil. Yet, upon seeing the joyful scene of the young bird on the ground, I immediately recognized that the mother bird's seemingly evil actions were, in fact, a form of benevolent evil. Inspired by the big bird, I employed a kind of benevolent evil in raising my own child. Starting at 13, my child took charge of the family's dinner, learned to drive at 14, and began driving to school at 16. I never did tasks he could manage himself. At 16, he competed for the position of the student company's general manager and succeeded. Regarding university, I said he could choose any university in the USA, UK, Australia, or South Africa, except elite schools like Harvard or MIT due to unaffordable tuition fees. Eventually, he researched online, contacted universities, and chose a top-ranked university within the global top 100. At 18, he left home, the nest, went to the US and UK embassies to apply for his visa himself, bought a plane ticket, registered in the USA, found accommodation, opened a bank account, and everything went smoothly. Finally, like the big bird, I drove my child out of the nest. Consequently, just like the young bird landing on the grass, he discovered a broader world and a space of freedom beyond the nest. His academic performance remained outstanding, and he received care and support from various quarters. People who know us envy our obedient and sensible child, but little do they know that I employed an evil educational method. Whether educating children, managing employees, or governing countries, leading people should adopt benevolent evil. Pure kindness ultimately harms oneself and others. Only benevolent evil can save both. To those who are ignorant, the most effective approach is to employ a strategy of benevolent evil, as they are unresponsive to reason and unmoved even in life-threatening situations. Resorting to a fascist dictatorship is inhumane, leaving us with no option but to employ evil methods. To those who damage nature, those who cause trouble without reason, those who lazily parasitize, and those who are fanatics, the most effective way to rescue them is through a form of benevolent evil. If we spend too much time waiting for them to understand it, it is too late and humanity will be on the brink of catastrophe. Children who cannot swim insist on bathing in the river. Those unfamiliar with electricity want to touch high-voltage wires. Those lacking faith insist on freedom. And those unfamiliar with Chinese culture and the human spiritual world insist on advocating private ownership. Is it wise for them to follow their own whims without considering the consequences not only for themselves, but also for the future of others and the entire nation? Humanity faces an immense potential disaster. We are standing at the edge of a precipice. It's time to wake up. 98% of people are currently in the nest. Don't you want to fly freely like the young bird? All authoritarian systems are nests. Can there be prospects for those crowded and fussing within these nests for an extended period? All religions are nests. Can there be prospects for those dreaming with closed eyes within these nests for an extended period? Like the big bird, Life Genuine aims to encourage the young birds to leave the nest. Only by flying out of the nest can you understand the benevolent evil of Life Genuine. Soar into the world, and it becomes yours. Remain behind, and it leads to a dead end. Find the best coordinate system and the best coordinate points of life. Xiefeng. This article was inspired by the annotation to the Analects. Shui Er, verse I. Once the roots are established, the way will grow therefrom. Having roots is the way to be human and how to learn about the universe. If you understand how to be human, you can lay the foundation to understand about heaven and the earth. If you do not understand how to be human, it will be difficult to learn about heaven and the earth. What is the way to be human? In my humble opinion, we must first understand our place in the time and space of the universe. Namely, that you are neither God, Buddha, a celestial being, a ghost, a devil, nor a beast, but that you are a mortal human. Knowing that you are a human, you need to do human things, speak human words, take the human way, and seek human business. You should not do ghostly things, speak the God's words, take the devil's way, or engage in absurd businesses. How does one do human things? Show filial piety to your parents, respect your teachers and seniors, care for the young and lonely, help your siblings, show concern for your relatives and neighbors, show compassion to plants and insects, and protect the landscape and the environment. These are human things, and anything that is contrary to them is inhuman. How does one speak human words? Consider if others were in your place and speak respectfully. Do not spread unsubstantiated rumors. Help others to resolve their differences and bring them peace. Advise others to do good things and not to go astray. Motivate people to make progress and fight for their futures. How does one take the human way? Be committed to your own duties. Manage your household with diligence and thrift. Be studious and make progress. Cast off your destructive habits. Take only what is right for you. Study that which is worthy of being studied. Take only the way of Tao, and do nothing against righteousness. How does one practice human business? Engage in farming, forestry, industry, commerce, or politics. They are human businesses. Human business is the foundation of social stability, and it underlies the success or failure of the family and the state. People who actively participate in these endeavors and pursuits are doing human business. If it is not a human business, even if it can bring you much quick wealth, do not do it. How does one avoid doing ghostly things? By not being sneaky and afraid of being found out by victims or the legal system, doing things that are offensive to heaven and reason, cheating a superior or deceiving a subordinate, dishonoring one's parents, bullying the young and the weak, wrongly accusing and murdering the good and virtuous, insulting the sovereign, duping the ignorant, speaking ill of one's peers, bearing false witness, rebelling against the clan leader, taking credit for the work of subordinates by bullying them, seeking favor by flattering, disrespecting one's countrymen, disrupting state affairs, rewarding unjust acts, harming and implicating the innocent, slandering the saints and sages, undermining morality, filling the cave and covering the nest, harming conception and breaking eggs, stealing others' achievements, discrediting their good conduct, disclosing their indecent secrets, injuring their appearance, separating children from their parents, wasting other people's money and resources, engaging in illegal conduct, forcing young girls to prostitute themselves, damaging marriages, taking away people's beloved, harboring murderous hearts, blaming others, desecrating ancestral graves, destroying homes, deluding with heretical doctrines, bewitching minds, talking about ghosts and monsters, or by poisoning the spirituality. These are some of nearly 100 items enumerated in Life Genuine, Life and Life. How does one not speak the God's words? They are the words of gods in heaven and are unknown to those who have not attained Tao. And even those who have attained Tao must be very knowledgeable about the truths of the universe. It is not something that ordinary people can understand. If you do not know how to be human but speak the God's words, then you are either talking nonsense or you have lost your mind. How does one not take the devil's way? By not misleading living beings, pursuing special magic arts and powers, inciting to rebel, promoting tyranny, touting heroes, singing the praises of totalitarianism, teaching others not to do the things of ordinary people, and other heterodoxical doctrines. All these are the devil's ways. How does one not engage in deluded businesses? By not farming their own land but still expecting wealth to arrive, not working but scamming, not studying or learning but expecting to know, not attending to their own business but wanting everything, being the blade of grass that wants to be a flower, the flower that wants to be in the orchard, the tiger that wants wings, or the bandit who want to be a deity celestial being. All these are absurd businesses. If roots are not established, then everything will be void, but if roots are established, then everything will be done. First be a person, then be a lady or gentleman. After that, follow the examples of the saints and sages, and then pursue the way to become a deity celestial being. Alas, the secrets of the Great Way are hidden to most people, but they reveal themselves to those who are enlightened. After seeking the Great Way everywhere for 3,000 years, it still hides in narrow margins. Therefore, to be a human being is the best coordinate system and the coordinate points of life. Fragrances will attract butterflies to flowers, and pure hearts will be frequented by celestial beings. Xiefeng. Foreign dignitaries visiting often opt for stays in 5-star hotels, never considering ordinary roadside inns. Recluses choose picturesque mountains and rivers as their places of cultivation, avoiding desolate and barren lands. Virtuous ministers select noble leaders to serve, while birds choose worthy trees for their nests. Harlots attract promiscuous men, and debauches specialize in tempting women seeking extramarital affairs. Gamblers revel in murky, obscure environments, while sages prefer abodes with serene and fresh air. The environment not only shapes species but is also shaped by them, just as filthy places attract flies, while blooming flowers welcome bees and butterflies. Planting different trees attracts different birds. People who browse the internet daily tend to favor websites that suit their temperament and personality, occasionally visiting other sites. Birds of a feather flock together, and individuals group based on shared interests. Scammers and thieves find it easy to communicate with each other, while sages seek companions with kindred spirits. In the eyes of lovers, beauty lies in the beholder, while evildoers may perceive others as troublemakers. Tyrants often surround themselves with sycophants. In the heart of enlightened beings, there are few living souls in the mundane world. A phoenix avoids barren lands, Enlightened souls do not consort with common folk. Rain avoids deserts. Peonies do not grow in the Gobi Desert. These are common sense, not needing exhaustive illustration. To those who have entered life genuine, I wish to convey, a pure heart attracts celestial beings. Consider this. When in a chaotic place, overwhelmed by countless tasks, it's hard to deeply contemplate a single matter or write a valuable article. Only in tranquility, free from desire, does the mind become sharp and clear, writing effortlessly, a state called, when the mind is calm, ideas flow naturally. A tangled mess is distressing for anyone who encounters it. In a society with disorder, it is difficult to establish a positive moral atmosphere. Noise is irritating, music brings joy, orderly lines are soothing, and the chaotic arrangement of structures in a painting disrupts one's thoughts. Higher quality life tends to favor order, while lower quality life leans toward chaos. Saints and sages would never guide people towards rebellion, rioting, plunder, or bloodshed. Those with distorted mindsets eagerly anticipate chaos in the world, hoping for frequent government overthrows, thinking, why isn't the world in chaos yet? Chaos is good. Amidst the chaos, one can fish in troubled waters and seize power. The virtuous individuals who enter the Life genuine community appreciate order and abhor violence and plunder. Even amid a storm, they remain as the wind blows, the mountain stands still, leaves fall silently. This is not a matter of moral quality, but rather a question of life quality. Disorder ravages life. If scorching sun today, biting cold tomorrow, morning serene, afternoon a deluge, month after month, year after year, can there still be traces of life on this earth? If a person's emotions fluctuate unpredictably, desiring to engage in business today, aspiring for politics tomorrow, thinking of marrying Xiao Wang in the morning, and wanting to wed Lu in the afternoon, month after month, year after year, can they still lead a long life? So, what does a pure heart attract celestial beings mean? A pure heart signifies a state of tranquility and order within the mind. In this state, the heart resembles a babbling brook, a field adorned with blooming flowers, a serene and elegant garden, towering and overlapping mountain ranges, a tranquil lake with rippling waves, a blue sky with drifting clouds, and the vast expanse of the starry night sky. When the heart resides in such a state, life thrives, divine blessings abound, and celestial beings visit. How to achieve purity of heart? In the intermediate stages of cultivation, I discussed that a heart harboring evil thoughts is impure, a deluded and fantasizing mind is impure, an incessantly greedy heart is impure, seeking undue advantage taints the heart, deceitful behavior soils the heart, speaking nonsense stains the heart, insulting gods and Buddhas clouds the heart, disrespecting parents darkens the heart, engaging in conflict, killing, and robbery contaminates the heart. Ambiguous thoughts obscure the heart, and impure body defiles the heart. A dirty and disorderly living space pollutes the heart. Deception, fraud, and manipulation sully the heart. Lacking compassion stains the heart. Ignorance and irrationality darken the heart. And blasphemy against the greatest creator stains the heart. A purified state of mind is the realm of celestial beings. Achieving this state naturally attracts the presence of